Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
Sonny,
you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. Let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times does she have to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal...
SUNNY HOSTIN, one of the boldest and most unwavering co-hosts of The View, has always been a strong advocate for justice, transparency, and moral integrity. She has earned a reputation for speaking out on issues like political corruption and social inequality, never hesitating to call out what she believes is wrong. But recently, a personal controversy has put her in the spotlight for reasons she probably never expected, and it's prompting people across the country to ask tough questions. Her husband, Dr. Manny Hostin, a well-known orthopedic surgeon, is now at the center of a massive $450 million lawsuit that's shaking both the healthcare industry and the public image of the Hostin family. The accusations are serious and revolve around a case that could potentially destroy both his career and damage Sonny's credibility as a trusted public figure.
Hey.
Dr. Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sonny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Twites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread insurance fraud.
The RICO law.
The explosive allegations claim that Dr. Manny is deeply involved in a large-scale insurance fraud scheme that includes kickbacks and unnecessary surgeries. These accusations are not just a threat to his professional reputation, they could also affect the way people view SUNNY HOSTIN herself. At the heart of this case is a RICO lawsuit filed in December. It accuses Dr. Manny Hostin, along with nearly 200 other defendants, of being part of a scheme to defraud insurance companies through fraudulent billing practices. The lawsuit's claims are significant and troubling. Dr. Manny, according to the legal documents, was allegedly involved in performing unnecessary surgeries on patients who had minor injuries, when they could have easily been treated with less invasive methods like physical therapy. In some cases, it's even claimed that the severity of the injuries was exaggerated to justify the surgeries. If true, this practice would not only expose patients to avoidable medical procedures, but also inflate healthcare costs for everyone.
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do. So there are a lot of problems with it. But the notion that we aren't a violent country, this country was built on violence. We're a very violent country, and it's just undeniable that that's the case. And so I'm not, unfortunately, surprised that people are celebrating the use of violence.
The public perception of Dr. Hostin, once seen as a reputable surgeon, is...
Insurance companies would have to cover these exaggerated treatments, and ultimately, patients would bear the cost through higher premiums. What makes this case even more alarming is the scale of the operation. The lawsuit claims that surgery centers were paying doctors, including Dr. Manny, kickbacks in exchange for patient referrals. This created a system where financial incentives may have put patients at risk, all for the sake of profit. But the damage doesn't stop at the individuals accused. The lawsuit demands over $450 million in damages, and it exposes the larger systemic issues within both the healthcare and insurance industries. Critics argue that such fraudulent schemes don't only hurt the companies involved. they also contribute to rising premiums for everyday Americans. This, in turn, adds to the burden of those already struggling with the high cost of healthcare. Once regarded as a reputable surgeon, Dr. Manny's public image is now under intense scrutiny. As a result, his wife, SUNNY HOSTIN, is also facing questions about her own credibility. Dr. Manny's lawyer has firmly denied the charges, calling the lawsuit a baseless attempt by an insurance company to avoid paying out claims. However, this defense raises its own concerns. Could there be a deeper, industry-wide culture that enables these fraudulent schemes to flourish by exploiting both doctors and patients? Adding another layer of complexity to this situation is SUNNY HOSTIN's public defense of her husband's legal battles. On The View, she has spoken out in his favor, suggesting that Dr. Manny was simply seeking compensation for his work, and that the legal action was an overreach by a financially troubled insurance company. What might have started as a simple defense of her husband's dedication to his patients now seems to have inadvertently endorsed the very practices at the heart of the $450 million lawsuit. People have begun to question whether this is a case of do as I say, not as I do. SUNNY has built her career by advocating for justice and fairness, often calling out corruption and unethical behavior in the world. Yet now she finds herself defending a situation that many believe represents.
Now you know who has been bragging all over the campaign trail about how he's the one that overturned Roe v. Wade, but apparently his wife has different thoughts on the reproductive rights after posting this video plugging her memoir. Take a look.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard. Without a doubt, there is no room for compromise when it comes to this essential right that all women possess from birth: individual freedom. What does my body, my choice really mean?
The opposite of those values. As the case continues to unfold, the public is left wondering what the truth really is. Can a person who has spent so much time fighting for justice continue to stand by someone accused of such serious wrongdoing, especially when the stakes are so high? The controversy has sparked mixed reactions. Supporters of SUNNY and Dr. Manny argue that they are being unfairly targeted. They believe that the case is part of a larger effort to discredit successful individuals and protect the interests of large insurance companies. On the other hand, critics argue that this is a clear example of the type of corruption that plagues the healthcare system, and they fear that people in positions of power may be using their influence to cover up the truth. The case is also raising important questions about the healthcare system as a whole. How often do these kinds of fraudulent practices occur? Are there other doctors who might be engaging in similar behavior? And how widespread is the problem? The lawsuit against Dr. Manny Hostin could be just the tip of the iceberg, and it has the potential to expose much more than just one individual's wrongdoing. As the legal battle progresses, it's clear that the outcome of this case will have far-reaching consequences. If Dr. Manny is found guilty, it could forever change the public's perception of him and the Hostin family. For SUNNY, this may be a defining moment in her career, as she is forced to confront the reality of her husband's actions and the impact they may have on her reputation. For now, the public is watching closely. People want answers, not just about Dr. Manny's involvement in the alleged fraud, but also about what this means for the wider healthcare industry. Is this a rare, isolated incident? Or is it part of a larger trend of corruption that needs to be addressed? And for SUNNY Hostin, the question remains: can she continue to stand by her husband in the face of such serious accusations? Or will this scandal force her to reconsider her public stance on justice and integrity? As more details emerge, it's clear that this case is far from over. The stakes are high, not just for Dr. Manny and SUNNY, but for the entire healthcare system. Whether this lawsuit leads to real change or simply fades into the background will depend on how the public and the legal system respond. But one thing is certain: this controversy is far from finished, and the impact it has on both the Hostin family and the healthcare industry will be felt for years to come. The situation with SUNNY Hostin has raised a lot of questions about her true commitment to accountability and transparency, Critics are now questioning whether she really stands by the values she promotes, especially when the allegations are so close to her own family. How can someone who has always pushed for justice ignore the serious accusations surrounding her? Husband? This has sparked a lot of criticism, as people wonder if her principles are only about political and social issues, or if they apply to every part of her life. SUNNY HOSTIN has always positioned herself as a strong moral voice on The View. Over the years, she has used her platform to speak out against corporate greed, political corruption, and the unethical behavior of conservative politicians. She has been particularly vocal about holding powerful people accountable, often calling out figures like Matt Gaetz and Donald Trump. However, when it comes to the legal troubles involving her own husband, SUNNY's response has been much more cautious. Instead of confronting the accusations head-on, her remarks have been relatively quiet, and in some cases defensive of the system her husband is accused of exploiting. This difference in approach has led many to accuse her of hypocrisy. They wonder why she is so quick to call out others but hesitant to apply the same level of scrutiny to her own family. Is she willing to hold her loved ones to the same standards that she demands from others?